Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Deeks channel. Thank you for tuning in today. And let's put this Pierre Luc Dubois conversation to bed for at least one more season, shall we? I thought it would be fun to actually talk about Pierre Luc Dubois' comments yesterday when he finally met with the media and shared his side of everything that's been going on surrounding him the last few weeks. So I did break down pretty much everything from this little presser with Dubois, and he said first and foremost he did not ask for a trade out of Winnipeg. So going right next into this, he also was not at the draft in Montreal, according to him, expecting a trade. Well, what was he doing there then exactly? So what he said was that his bank invited him, that they had a box there, and it's an entertaining night. He's a big hockey fan. If he was invited by the Jets, he would have gone with them, but he got invited by his bank instead. So it didn't cross his mind for 1 second to ask for a trade, said Dubois. So I think he played this press conference pretty safely. And if anything, and I'll get to this in a moment, Pat Brisson, his agent, was the one who lit the fire for this whole story, blowing up at a proportion the way it has. But he's been a very polarizing figure. And, until you actually hear from the player, you can decide for yourself what you want to believe. And I still don't really know. I think that he's still going to test the free agency waters in 2 years. But, anyways, a couple more tidbits on this little presser with him. Since being in Winnipeg, he's been treated with nothing but respect. Great group of guys in Winnipeg, according to Dubois. Looks forward to going to Michigan to train with them ahead of training camp this summer. His first season with Winnipeg, by his standards, was awful. And then he thought he improved this past season, getting that 60-point season for the second time in his career. And he thinks that he can improve again beyond this season. He looks at himself from 2 to 3 to 4 years ago, and he's a completely different person now than he was back then. It's a big decision deciding his future. So to me, it sounds like he's still likely to test the free agency waters in 2024. No door was closed on that opportunity happening. It's most likely to happen by the sounds of it. But Dubois' agent, Pat Brisson, who represents a lot of high-profile clients in the NHL, including Sidney Crosby, as an example, lit the fire by saying that he thinks that Montreal would be a place that Dubois would like to play. So when he's 26 years old in 2 years, that might be the ideal time for him to pursue that. And I think that Dubois' numbers are probably going to go up next season and in 2023 also, or I should say the 23-24 season. I'm getting my numbers all over the place, but you know what I mean? So the next 2 seasons, Dubois doesn't have control of where he goes. So he's going to be in Winnipeg this year for sure. And then we'll see what happens the year after. And then in 2024, he has the opportunity to be a free agent. So where will he end up? Well, we don't know. I mean, I like the Superman shot here. That's one of my favorite ones, but that's the question, right? I mean, we don't know where Dubois is going to end up in a couple of years, but I think it was just nice to hear his side of it for a change because, again, you always hear all the media, all the speculation, and that's what he addressed basically in this little press conference here. And, it's funny because you think about a player's future and where they want to be and are they a team first guy or like, when we talk to Dale Weiss on Habs Tonight, what you learn about these players is that they all want each other to get paid. They all want to get their big payday, their big long-term contract, and be set for life. As if they're not set right now, right? I know. But that being said, I think that even his teammates understand what position that he's in. He's a high-profile player. He's a French-Canadian player. So I think in the locker room, the discussions happen, and I think they really support each other probably behind the scenes and understand that you're kind of treated like a bit of a piece of meat in this business. We learned that from Dale, and that's true. So these guys got to do what they can. Now, in terms of the shift and whether or not he's going to bail on the Habs in the future if he does ever go to them, that's up to interpretation, I guess. But for me, I'm not closing the door on this ever happening. I think it'd be interesting. And I think that by 26 years old, he's going to be in his prime. And I do think that his point production is going to go up. His best season so far in the NHL came in his second season with the Columbus Blue Jackets, 61 points, 27 goals, 34 assists. And then just this past season in Winnipeg, 28 goals, 32 assists for 60 points in 81 games. And I do expect his production to continue to go up. I do expect him to improve. And that's why he knows that the next 2 seasons are going to determine his next contract, and whether it's going to be, north of 7 million or getting close to that $9 million mark, which really is more close to the 100-point player mark. So I think he's probably not going to get there. But if you can sign Dubois to a 4 or 5 year contract in Montreal for 7.5, 8, maybe $8 million, I'm interested in that maybe if the timing is right. I don't think we're going to get Huberdeau. It's Huberdeau. I don't know how to pronounce his name probably. But I think it's more likely that we actually go after Dubois on free agency in the next couple of years than Huberdeau. He's obviously open to signing in Calgary, which he just mentioned as well. And the fact that PLD is a lot younger kind of makes it more attractive. And if his attitude and his skill set are there, I mean, you have to be open to it, at least in my opinion. And now I want to end this video with a couple Pierre Luc Dubois highlights. These came to mind because I remember watching this game just before the COVID shutdown, and it was Columbus in Montreal. So let's take a quick couple looks at some PLD highlights real quick. Here we go.
Now it's up. Here comes Dubois with room down the wing. Pierre Luc Dubois going to the net and scores.
And one more in that very same game.
And back of the net, Dubois trying to get it in front. Price trying to cover it up, scores!
And Price can't get back.
I don't know if he's saying I'm a little crazy still. You might not want to. I'm kidding, Pierre Luc. We are open to it. At least some fans. Some fans are, I know, and I'm going to let you guys go at it in the comments down below. We're going to put this conversation to bed after this for at least one more season and see where the PLD conversation is later this year, next year. I mean, I think we got to be open to it. We haven't had the chance to really sign a big name free agent ever since Marc Bergevin was there. It just, the opportunity wasn't there. Now that we're in a rebuild and we're going to put the right pieces in place from the ground up, this is maybe when you have an opportunity to add a free agent in a couple of years, and it could be a great story. It could turn out to be a great story. Dubois could become everything that Jonathan Drouin hasn't, unfortunately, and more. I think he's a big body too. That's the other thing you can't forget. I mean, 6'2", 205 pounds. I mean, you watch him with like just power skater, just a really potentially solid. I think Kent Hughes would be open, potentially solid defense or centerman for the Canadiens in the future. Anyway. You guys let me know down in the comments below. I'm going to stop talking. I got one more video planned for this summer, doing a top 5, a very quick, short top 5 trade video for Kent Hughes. And I guess Jeff Gorton involved in these trades probably too. I'm going to do a top 5 video, their best top 5 trades since they've been here in the short time that they have been. So leave a comment down below, guys. Let me know what you think about PLD and his comments. Finally getting a chance to say his side of things. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon. Cheers.